Welcome, everybody, to the February 2nd Select Board meeting. Will you join me in saying the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so first up, we have the warrants, and Brian has a general fund warrant this week.
All right, the general fund warrant here is dated February 2nd, 2026. The total amount on this warrant here is $797,913.76. Items of note, largest by far here is our their fiscal year third quarter payment for the St. Albans Police Department, which is just about 687,000 of it, or 86% overall. Other two items of note here, Blue Cross Blue Shield for health insurance is a little over 40,000, or about 5% of the total. And VLCT Workers' Comp Disability Insurance is almost 31,000 at 4%. So those three make up about 95% of this general fund warrant. With that said, I would make a motion that we pass the general fund warrant, the amount of $797,913.76.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Jeff, I believe you have a couple
Yep.
payroll warrants.
I have two payroll warrants. The first one is dated January 23rd, 2026, and that is in the amount of $43,080.12. And the second warrant dated January 30th, 2026 is in the amount of $60,644.17. And that includes the agency payments. That's why that one's bigger. And I would make a motion that we pass these as presented.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and Amanda, I believe you have 4 miscellaneous warrants?
Yes, I have an impact fee warrant that includes engineering for the St. Albans Bay Park water system in the amount of $1,805, and Connor Communications, which is the French Hill Road cameras for winter maintenance. Do we have an update? Have those been completed? Okay, in the amount of $6,287.58. So the total of the impact fee warrant is $8,092.58. I also have an industrial park warrant in the amount of $563.40. This is for the pump station and service. So that's that one. Then I have an infrastructure development warrant in the amount of $950. This is to pay for the survey for the St. Albans Bay boat launch. And I have a stormwater utility warrant in the amount of $10,931.53. This includes the stormwater upgrades for Clyde Allen and some flood damage repairs that had to be completed for an owner. So I make a motion that we approve these warrants as presented.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that takes care of the warrants. In your packet, you have the minutes from the January 20th Select Board meeting. If there's no changes, would somebody like to make a motion to those, to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Oh, I did have under other business, I did ask about Corey Parent and how long he would be on, and he did respond to the end of 2026, but that wasn't included in the other business minutes. So I would like that included, and then I would approve them.
That'd be, I think, fiscal year 2026, correct?
Yes.
So would somebody like to make a motion with that amendment? Or did you? She did. Okay, second.
Motion.
Yes, I would like to make a motion
Okay,
to
thank you.
approve it with that amendment, please.
Second, anybody?
I'll second it.
Thank you. We've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next up, public comment. Anybody, will start with people in the audience. If you'd like to come up for a public comment, you have 5 minutes. Please state your name and town of residence when you come up.
Good evening.
Hello.
So my name is Mark Burrow. I am a town resident, but today I'm here more on behalf of Franklin County Industrial Development Corp. I think I speak for our whole board that we're a little surprised that you decided not to fund us for the next fiscal year. Because we were here in October 20th, at the request of Corey, and we kind of gave you an update of where things were, why things were happening or why things weren't happening. And we didn't have any questions or comments from any of you. So it was like, then we find out we're not funded. I will tell you that we represent the whole county, not just St. Albans Town, but we spend more time and more resources on St. Albans Town than any other municipality in the whole county. You know, we talk about what happened, what didn't happen. Everybody wants to know what's going on with the expansion of the park, and I can tell you what has happened, and I can tell you a few things that didn't happen. First of all, the Development Corp has spent millions of dollars with land acquisition, permitting, landscaping, infrastructure. And as today, we still have an outstanding debt service of $2.2 million on that park. Just the expansion. That's our money that we've invested in the town. We got about $750,000 left to do. That estimate of $750,000, that is somewhat dated, so I'm sure it's probably going to be higher than that. But we haven't finished all of the infrastructure in the park because we only can afford so much. We aren't able to get a bond, or we have to borrow money, and when we borrow money, we got to be able to prove that we can pay it back. Concerning development in the park, there has not been a lot. The only one we've had that came through was Purpose Energy. And that's the only one in the expansion, and it did increase the grant list by $1 million. We thought we had another thing going on the lot next to it, lot 1B. We had someone who was going to put up a 15,000 square foot building, and at the 11th hour, they didn't go through with it. My understanding was it because of financing. So then the town said, well, we've got it all permitted because we spent the money to get all the permits. So that is ready. It's shovel ready right now. We reached out to Connor Construction, and they got back to us with an estimate to put a shell building up there last March. And at that time, it was $2.1 million. That was for the shell. No concrete, no plumbing, electrical entrance into the building, not even, because they don't know how much power a tenant would want or how much they need. So we're going to run the conduit. We were going to run conduit, but we weren't going to put in any services. That being said, it came in at 2.1. That was a shell. And we didn't have the money really to do that either. Because again, like I said, if we want to borrow money, we got to know we have a tenant. We wanted to do it. We looked at our finances, and it was not something that was something we could afford at this time. But we did go through to get the number. And we thought that if we could get a shell up, if somebody came, at least we'd have something to show them that was pretty close to being finished, and they could finish it up the way they wanted. Originally, it was proposed as 7,500 square foot units. In other words, it'd be 2 units. but that didn't go forward for us. So that fell through. And then we had another project that fell through. And, my understanding is that Corey met with the individual and he was concerned about, a covenant in the, park, one of the park covenants, which states they gotta have brick or stone or something similar on the side of the building that's facing the street. Now, that wasn't something that we proposed. That was something that either happened at the local level through planning. I think back then it was a planning commission and a zoning, not a DRB, or it could have been the state. But that wasn't something that we wanted. It does increase the cost of the building, but it was something that we are now burdened with, and anybody comes into the park is going to be burdened with. So that being said, we looked into it, but we can't change that. We're not at liberty to change that. There was some other discussion about, I think that's pretty much on that stuff, but you know, when Sean was here, Tim Smith was talking to Sean Atkins on a regular basis. At one point, Sean asked, Tim what the town could do to help us out. And Tim said, well, if you want to build a spec building, we'd love to have you sell you a lot. If we could sell a lot, we can pay down our debt. I don't know if that ever got back to the board. I don't know if there was any discussion about it, but that was one of the things that could help us move forward in that part. I know talking to some of the select board that there's been a lot of disappointment about it not moving forward, but we got a debt service on our part. If there's anybody who wants to sell something, it's us. I mean, we can't keep carrying this forever. And it is burdensome to us, but at the same time, it's important for the county. We look at this as something for the county. The fact that this park is in a town is because of the infrastructure of proximity and things of that nature, but it benefits the whole county. And it benefits the town as well, because last year,
Mark, I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm gonna give you 20 more seconds. It's,
I got 20 more seconds?
That's 7 minutes.
I'm overdue then, right?
Well, I'll let you go 20 more seconds just to wrap
I
up.
was just gonna say, last year, the town got over $868,000 in tax revenue from the park. FCIDC has been around for about 50 years. $12,500 a year, 50 years is less than 75% of what you got from that park last year. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Good evening. My name is Brad Furlan. I've been a town resident for, I don't know how long, 30, 40 years. And back in the 90s, I did a little bit of work with Franklin County Industrial Development Corp. They asked us to do a little marketing, and we went up on French Hill and with an 800mm camera lens and took a picture of the Montreal skyline, and we invited Montreal to St. Albans with the pamphlets that we put together. And at one point when Ames and Woolworths were gone and we were trying to get Walmart in, Barry Calabo from the park donated, I don't know how many cases, 50 cases of chocolate chips to bring to a Rotary show to promote Walmart to the town, which is a big tax part of our town as well. And I think of all the periphery things that happen with that FCIDC has done with the Canadian market, the American market. I remember a few years back, we were looking at a business in Morristown that might want to do some location over here, but these have been troubled times, as Mark said. with COVID and all that stuff, but I won't echo too long here, but $12,000, $12,500 investment is having the town say to the rest of the county that we care about this industrial park and we should have it. And it's a pretty small investment, so I hope that you consider changing your mind on this. Thank you.
Evening.
Evening.
Try to time myself. 5 minutes isn't very much, and I'd be happy to come back sometime. My name is Frank Coffey, and I'm a native of St. Albans. My home is here in St. Albans Town. I'm a former select board member, served 3 two-year terms, and I run Greater Burlington Industrial Corporation, which is the peer of Franklin County Industrial Development in Chittenden County. 50 years, town leaders in our town here, Bob Hathaway, the old-time leaders, Alan Brooks, a number of folks, made a pact with all the other leaders in all the other communities in Franklin County to create Target Area Development Corporation. I was the second director. The first director was Brian Sussland. And then I came on, I served for 2 years, and then we changed the name to Franklin County Industrial Development Corporation. It was agreed by all the municipalities that the first industrial park would be in St. Albans Town. And every one of the governing boards worked together to do that. Everybody put down politics, any differences that they might have had, and focused on where would be the best place for industry. And we chose that park and invested in it. You couldn't make the investments today. You can't go out and buy land. You all know what land costs. Industrial parks are basically land banks. So they're land banks for the highest value-added use. So you could sell that park out in a year to entities that have no jobs, 0 jobs. And that's not why you do industrial parks. I can tell you from my standpoint in Chittenden County, there's not much happening now. Beta Technologies is about all that's happening. And the future, what I tell people about being from Franklin County is Franklin County has always been welcoming to economic development. And you guys need to keep it that way, because this is where the opportunity will be. If you keep doing this, then we will end up with all the small manufacturing in all of northwestern Vermont, because the majority of the municipalities in Chittenden County do not want any more development of any kind. And small companies will come here. When they're investing again, they'll come here. 12,500, I think that's an obligation, not, it's an obligation of 50 years of commitment of everyone that sat in those seats that was committed to having jobs here. I'll leave this with you. The taxable value of the properties of the companies in the park right now is just under $40 million. It brings in $868,000 a year in property taxes. There's 1,680 jobs there in the companies. And when I look at other parks around the state, this is purely a manufacturing industrial park. And what I'd be looking at if I were you is how can you expand it? How can you get more? How can the town look at other areas that are appropriate for industrial development and grow? Because I believe that the economic future of Vermont is in Northwest Vermont, and Franklin County will be Franklin County will get as much of the quality manufacturing and technology development as it wants. But you have to take the long-term view. This isn't like a commercial real estate person or somebody decides they want to be in real estate, buying a piece of land, putting infrastructure to it, and then selling it off. You have to take the long view. And that's what the park has always done. That's what the town has always done. My time is up in 20 seconds, but I'd be happy to come back, meet with Casey, together with Tim. There are 12 of us that do the job Tim and I do in the state. We all work together. We share things together. If I don't have anything in Chittenden County, which we're down to almost nothing, then we contact Tim. That's why Beta Technologies is here. That's why they're in the old Energizer building. So we all, we work together. It's a team sport, and it's something that takes long-term commitment. So I'm really proud of everything St. Albans Town has done. And I'm very proud of Franklin County Industrial Development as well. So please, look at this as, I think it's a long-term obligation, because the town fathers and the town mothers that made this pact in Franklin County did it for the long haul. And then the whole county sat back and said, our first park, our golden park, will be in St. Albans Town. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you for making time to serve the town and the county as well.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good. Come on up.
Heather Kelly, town resident. It was briefly mentioned, Corey Parent's continuation after the interim manager position ended on January 5th, but I was hoping to get clarification on what that role would be. I was only able to get information from Casey that it was going to be at $3,000 per month for 6 months. I'm just hoping to get clarification on what that role is going to look like. That's it. And support the Franklin County Industrial Development Corporation.
All right, anybody else? Anybody on Zoom like to make a public comment?
I'm not sure if you can hear me or not. This is Paul Clark.
Sure can.
Okay, great. Thank you. I appreciate all the comments that everybody has made, and I really did not intend to speak this evening, but I have to tell you a little bit of history. As former headmaster at BFA, the opportunity to work with Tim Smith and Kathy Lavoie, Andy Crossman, folks like that didn't look at the dollar sign that was attached to whatever the investment that the town is making or other towns in the county are making. They really looked at it as what's the investment in the kids that are growing up in the county who stay in Franklin County and work in Franklin County. And I believe that what the Industrial Development Corporation has done has created great opportunities for kids in our county to remain there, have good jobs, make good incomes, provide a nice lifestyle for themselves as well as their families, and likewise pay taxes to the towns that they live in. $12,500 is not a whole lot of money, and I get that. But I do believe that I would look at that, if I were you in your position, as an investment in tomorrow and years to come, rather than looking at it as trying to save $1 today and maybe shortchange the industrial corp a little bit, maybe, but probably not that much. But I think you got to look down the road and look at the $12,500 as an investment in the youth of our communities. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Hey, anybody else on Zoom like to make a public comment? Hearing none, we're gonna move forward.
And if I can just remind everyone to sign in if you haven't.
Thank you, Casey. Okay, so in your packet every year, we go over the highway mileage in the town. I believe this is for grant applications and stuff like that, correct?
Yeah.
So we usually get a good paving grant every year to help us pave our roads and so on and so forth. And you see some additional verbiage in there about Harbor View.
Yep,
I
phase
think that's
four,
the-
phase four.
Phase 4, yep. So that was 0.258 miles. So having said that, anybody have any questions or anything about that certificate of highway mileage? Okay, pretty straightforward. So would somebody like to make a motion to approve the total for 2026 to be, what is it here? 81.727 miles in the town of St. Albans?
Second,
Okay, we have
Just
a
to be clear, it's actually 2025. It was for
2025,
what we
so-
took over last year.
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you.
Okay, motion to amend 2020 for 2025.
second,
Thank you. So all in favor?
aye.
Okay. That takes care of that. Kevin from the Department of Public Works, we got a few updates coming up. So Kevin, come on up and give us the 4 updates, please.
More updates. And what do you need from me, Kevin? You want this? Here. It's on, you can see the file right here. It's ready to go. Okay. And if that doesn't reach, I can do it over here. The mouse might not reach.
I have a couple agenda items today. I don't know what I had, what's listed first on the warrant.
Former DPW garage demo, Cohen Tree Park built grant, former DPW site.
Okay,
Yep,
so,
here.
I don't need the file yet. Yeah, so, just reporting on bids we received for the demolition of the old DPW site. We had 21 bids, ranging from 41,000 to about 97,000. We're going to, John and I will interview the low bidder and kind of get what their process is, see how they're thinking about the project, make sure we're comfortable with it, and then hopefully award that contract and have the building demolished if everybody's acceptable with that this winter.
Awesome.
We're actively taking down, this is for Cohen Park, we're taking down it was decimated by the ash borers. So between our crew and then we're having 2 trees done professionally that we weren't comfortable doing. That's actually going to be tomorrow. But then we're also thinking about what we're going to do going forward and replanting it. So this grant opened up, it's a Communities Caring for Canopy grant. Communities Caring for Canopy grant, and it's a 1-to-1 match. So it's a max award would be 10,000. So we spend 10, we would get 10, and we would put that towards the replanting of Cohen Park. We want to do it mindfully, like we know whatever we plant is going to be there for a generation. So we're going to have some public input. We'll have maybe some professional help just to help us choose the right species and the right variety so that you don't have a repeat of what happened with the ash trees.
Yeah, not ash trees.
Yeah, not ash
Okay,
trees.
good.
Yeah.
And
Kevin,
it's,
that 20,000, how many of those trees would that be able to plant? All of them?
I think it kind of depends. So I'm actually hoping that maybe we can get some volunteers
Yeah.
in town
Yeah.
that can help us with like at least the professional side of things of helping pick and decide and place where. But that location, you want to put a fairly mature tree in, so $500 plus to just for the tree and just so not even including labor. So it'll add up pretty quick.
Gotcha.
I think we'll try to keep it lower.
They'll be put pretty much in the same spot that the other trees already were? Or are they going to be in a different location?
I think that's why we want to get somebody with an
Gotcha,
eye,
yeah.
you know? I don't-
There'll still be a big space in the middle that's open.
I
right?
would think so, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Just on the side.
Right now, they're uphill of the old road bed. And we've actually talked about that road bed, and whether it needs to get filled, because it kind of collects water a little bit. And so maybe it needs to get leveled out. That's probably something we could do in-house.
Have you reached out at all to Charlie Hancock, the county forester?
We got a letter of support from, Charlie Hancock, that he provided a letter of support. on
Yeah,
the
he's a
grant
good guy. He
application.
knows about
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah, so, yep.
So I think on that, I think we need a motion to approve that
Mm.
country,
Yeah,
replanting
and this
that.
is, I just want to make sure you know that we are replace, how many the trees did we have to replace due to the storm, due to the weather? And there was more than two
This, for just Cohen Park.
for just Cohen Park,
We're taking down 42 trees.
42 trees.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is just Cohen Park. Like Dunsmore, we applied for a safety grant for Dunsmore Road for $50,000. We didn't come to you for that because,
Hey, people in the audience, can we just keep it down because the minute taker has a hard time because the microphone pick it all up. Sorry, Paul.
so we applied for a safety grant for $50,000. We didn't come to you because there was no match. It's 100% funding. But it's entirely Dunsmore Road, ash tree, hazard tree removal. So like the ash trees are really a major expense right now for the town.
And we realized that, you
Yeah.
know, for over a year.
So you're just, last spring I went around with Dave and we put in all the trees. I mean, there was a ton of them on the farm. Did you end up getting most of those?
We did, on McQuam, I'm sure.
You know, we've been down past Cohen Park.
Brad, we get this? Or you did quite a few down into there. Yeah. Yeah, so we're doing the ones we can do in-house, and we're also have 4 tree companies under qualified contract. We still get quotes from them to do the removals, but we're also mindful that we want to pick like a dollar amount and keep chipping away at it,
Right,
because it's easy just to say, oh, there's another one, there's another tree, and it'll get out of hand.
Well, they're dying all the time.
Yeah, and fast.
And
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons why we want this grant. And we're going to be mindful of how we plant them and where we plant them at Cohen Park. So they look good, they're the right species, and you know, we're mindful on it. And this is a good grant for $10,000 that we can go towards improving
get
that
it.
park.
if we get it.
When I like
Yeah.
the fact that it specifies that it's looking for a diversity of trees, like what do you
Yeah.
get? Half a dozen different types anyway. So hopefully one of those ash type things comes back for a different one. We don't see the same kind of devastation. That $50,000 grant, is that, when will we hear about that? Or do we already hopefully get it?
That's a good question. We haven't gotten it.
Okay.
And it went to every municipality. It's a highway safety improvement. And our argument in our grant was that by getting these trees away from the road, it's rural road departures. People are less likely to slide off a road and hit a tree. So that was our spin on that grant. I was thinking end of March we were gonna hear, but there's a bunch of grants flying around right now, so I think I'm
Awesome.
Yeah.
And if we did get that, would we be able to do it this spring?
yes.
Awesome.
Summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. So.
The,
would- Go ahead.
anything, I had one other, so the RFP for the automatic gates is out too.
Okay,
Just so you know, it's bids are due March 12th for that.
perfect. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve, going forward with the Cohen Tree replanting grant?
So
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Okay, I will sign that.
Awesome.
We also got the speed limit signs in. We're just waiting for the right time to install them.
ones that flash or speed.
Give you your speed, yeah, just. Next agenda item is we're working on a build grant application. And so this is a grant directly through the Department of Transportation. And it's for the health path. And we're looking at maybe we were fortunate enough to get this grant. We could build the health path with one
Mhm.
funding source, one project, maybe broken up into segments, but just take one big shot at it. And if we get it, we would have a lot of work to do to get it done in time. But it's a grant process that I'm pretty familiar with my time at Federal Highway. I worked on a couple of these grants. I'm aware of the deadlines, what the language is. And so Megan and I are working pretty diligently right now, just crafting some language. There is one thing that we have been talking about internally is because we're a rural community, the entire state of Vermont is in this grant program. We can request 100%, so no match. Your grant application is more attractive if there's a match. So we've kind of gone back and forth about whether or not to do an 80-20, where the grant's 80, we're 20%, or 90-10, or just take a swing, ask for 100% and cross our fingers. Couple other things to note about this grant. We are also including the East Basin stormwater practice into it because the construction of the health path from, across up to the Sash, we were always planning on using the health path to potentially construct the practice. There's also points, or there's merit criteria, and one of the measurements is environmental stewardship. So I think it even strengthens the application a little bit to say that, MS4, water quality, like stream protection. So it strengthens the application a little bit as well. And then it even, in the grant, it even calls out stormwater mitigation as well.
If we did that, Kevin, I'm just wondering if we're going across the Sash, would we be able to in any way, and I don't know if it would help, but have like V-Trans sign on as a partner of some sort? I mean, is that a way to do that?
I reached out to the project manager of the roundabout and suggested that we do a partnered application.
Yep.
And that went up to the chief engineers, the management office at V-Trans, and ultimately they declined because they are submitting for the same grant program for a project in Pittsford and Brandon. And they're concerned, a bigger dollar amount project. They're concerned that by having two, they would detract from this one that they had already committed to. So it's a great thought. I think the roundabout right now is supposed to be quotes in 2030. We would, if we were awarded this health build project, we would have to be authorizing the project for construction by 2030. So they could almost be a little bit ahead of us. In perfect world, it all aligns, but I know V-Trans does not have a lot of extra money right now. So I'm sure the roundabout would get kicked down the road, but maybe our project approaching would kind of be a catalyst to move that project along as well.
Can I ask you another question, Kevin?
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing you say is, right, it's a $7 million grant. So if we did the 0-100, obviously it wouldn't cost us anything if we got it, but our chances are X. If we did 90-10, we're only saying we'll do 700,000 on a 7 million project. Our chances of getting that are some X, factor as well. And then 80-20 at 1.4 million for us. Do you have any sense of what those X factors are? You know what I mean? If you do 0-100, is it like, there's probably not even worth putting it in, or is it?
I don't have so I know that they have to distribute their grants a certain amount rural or a certain amount, and they want to see like geographic distribution as well. A certain amount has to go to every state. So I know Killington got 100% on this same program that they applied. But that was the only one. So this project's funded, Burlington-Winooski Bridge, the east-west pedestrian crossing. St. Albans City got one, and I think that might actually be a concern, because if they see that the city got one for Federal Street and then the town right next door is getting one, that might be not in our favor. So to answer your question, I don't know.
I was hoping you would,
Yeah.
but got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there a finite amount of funds available through this grant program?
Yeah, the maximum award for any one project is $25 million. And then the maximum amount for the entire program, I don't know. It's pretty sizable. And the other reason why we may want to take a shot now is because this is the last year of the IIJA infrastructure law. And it's hard to know if you'll have these discretionary grants in the future. Like this might be the last window, or maybe other states will want to continue having this kind of discretionary grant project and it'll still be available, but it's not a sure thing.
So did you say that the storm pond up there would be included in this?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it strengthens the application and it's a sizable dollar amount. So the minimum request for a project is 1 million. So we're above that 7. So including that, stormwater practice makes it a larger, more sizable project. I think that's why the roundabout would have been a nice fit too, because the cost estimate for that is 9. So we could have gotten both of them underneath the max 25.
So they don't have design on that roundabout other than what we saw when was it last?
Year or so.
Yeah, I think
They
that,
gotta have some idea where they're gonna dump that water.
yeah, it's gonna be a lot of close coordination regardless. Yeah.
So they're gonna wanna probably use our pond.
We'll have to talk to them.
Yeah, cause there ain't a lot of places that can't, that it's gonna go, that it isn't going already and causing all kinds of trouble. I mean, I thought it'd be a good thing to coordinate the whole thing. But you know how cheap the state is.
I think we're gonna coordinate the whole thing regardless of whether or not they're a partner in the project. Like I know the project manager, he and I have worked together quite a bit and he's really good communication and really open. So I think there's gonna be a lot of details that have to get worked out as we go forward.
When when is this grant due? Is it say, was it 3/2, was it, or I'm sorry, 2/24, right?
Yeah, end of February. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Me just looking at it here, I mean, with the fact that we could include stormwater, and it's big leverage. If it's, especially if it was something like, I mean, just on the top of my head is the 90/10, I don't know where the pleasure of the board might be, elsewhere other than that, but I mean, if we got that much for 700,000, it is, I think, our, the first or second highest priority on our pedestrian, plan that we have already. I mean, I'd certainly be all for applying for the grant,
Yeah.
with at least doing the 90/10, I feel like, and then we'd have to come up with the money by 2029.
Yeah, so
I mean,
you
at
would,
that latest,
yeah,
obviously, we could do it
pretty
before,
much.
but
That would be when the big dollar amounts start hitting, once you advertise the project for construction and you're starting to come up with
yeah.
that 10% match.
And just for the record, I mean, this would be able to come out of our LOT fund, our infrastructure fund.
Yep.
and Given that we're doing a lot with stormwater, I don't know if there was some, good ways of, using those funds too to help for that portion. So,
Yep.
This health path is only going from the access road over past Tardac, right?
So the
There's-
project,
There's no money amount that's been. Nobody knows how we're getting across the interstate to Pearly Commons. There's no.
the sash, getting
well, you
across
Call
this,
it the side,
yeah,
I call
okay.
it the access road.
Yeah,
There's no, I mean, I heard a bridge, I heard a tunnel.
So
the way would be,
when the roundabout goes in, there will be crosswalks on that. It'll be like,
Yeah.
what'd you say, like a U? It won't be on
yeah.
the side.
So the roundabout has pedestrian crossings like a U. Yeah, so cross the sash, but then also from Collins Pearly up to Subway and then from Maple Fields down to the pedestrian. The only
Just-
connection that there isn't is right, right on the ramps leading to the interstate.
So you're gonna walk up there and push the button, and everybody's gonna stop and you go across?
Well, that's the hope, is that the two projects can coincide with each other so that you will be able to walk from the complex across the sash through the crosswalks in the roundabout. Hopefully that timeline can work itself out. So we won't, a bridge would be really, because we have to, when I was in the planning commission, we talked about the bridge, would be really expensive. Maintenance would be pretty hard and costly. So I think the best bet as we looked at was the crosswalks in the roundabout. And also probably one of the safest too, because right now you basically just close your eyes and run once it turns red. I've been up there many times, seen people try to run across that. It's not an easy access, but
Dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is, I don't know, dozens or hundreds of teenagers cross that road every day between the complex and, Jolly, Stewart's.
and
wherever
that
it is.
hopefully the sash will help that too, because apparently they can't put it where we tried to put it in a few years ago. And I've talked with Tim Vians, it's just really almost impossible to get a crosswalk up there. Once that sash comes in, that roundabout on the sash, that's where those kids will be able to cross up there. Because I see every day driving home, you see kids running across the street and it's
Yeah.
just not
Yeah.
safe.
I see it on my Life 360.
So, yeah, they've been really good at being aggressive on building this grant. We're gonna work with people. We're gonna get fine letters of support. That's another part of it. We might ask the board to write a letter. I'm gonna find people to write letters. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that we're gonna have to be chasing down for this. So we'll keep you updated with that as we go. And then the question will just be if we want to do a match or if we want to go for swing for the fences on 100%. I mean, Kevin, is that what you're thinking? Does that sound right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
When would we need an approval by them? Or not an approval,
Next select board meeting.
That's fine.
Well, we can,
or if you want to discuss it right now, it's fine. We just, if you want to think about it.
We gotta discuss if we're gonna do the match or not.
Right.
Where that's coming from.
I think that's all, right? I have an opinion on it already formed, and that is that if you're gonna swing for the fences with a grant that's gonna be approved in this fiscal year, and that's in Washington, or is that in Montpelier? Is that
Washington.
Washington? If you don't put match in that, that is gonna go nowhere.
And
So we have to decide if getting some is better than getting none. Because if we
Yeah.
go 100%, we will get, my opinion, we will get none.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
just the way Washington's working right now.
Yeah.
But I think, huh?
It's working?
Well, actually, they may not be. Are they shut down right now? I don't know. They may be shut down.
Commercial. Yeah.
But anyway, I think like if it's something the town wants, I think it is, and then our best chance of getting it is to put as much money as we're comfortable towards that. And we'd still be way ahead, I think.
Yes.
If, six.
Well, and Jeff, along with that, right? So if 400,000 to 500,000 of it for stormwater, that's
Right.
money then we wouldn't have to spend out of stormwater. So I'm
Yeah.
just, as a thing, if we did 700,000 and we got it, in a way, it's only really costing us 200,000.
Right.
In a way, so.
Spend that stormwater money up there anyway.
That's,
Right.
Well, that's what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
for How many years?
Yeah, yeah. And the way we started to draft the application is kind of rural community, competing priorities, like we need to do this project and this project. So we're trying to regardless of where we come on the match, I think we're really there's a lot of emphasis on these local matches right now in Washington, because they know how difficult it is for some communities to come up with it. So I think that's why you're actually even seeing this option as 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna say, just for the benefit of everyone, if you hadn't heard what we're talking about, just a path from the complex going over to Hardak, going over, first, I guess it'd be at Northwest Medical Center to Hardak, and then ultimately all the way to the rail trail, where that crosses over near the interstate. So, I mean, it's a big project if we could
This isn't
get
for
this
all
done.
of that.
All of it.
Yeah.
All
the
of
way.
it.
Yeah, the whole
That's what I'm
thing,
saying,
yeah.
Jeff. This would knock a
Yeah.
huge project out, so.
Yeah, and when I bring it up to people, it's MVRT, medical center, Hardak,
Yeah.
multiple neighborhood, it's like Collins Pearly, like,
Links in with the sidewalk system with the
Yeah.
city as well. I mean, it would,
Yeah.
someone in the city could get to the rail trail on their
Yeah.
bike.
yeah, so tourism, we're trying to tie it in with the plan that Megan's working on, the transit orient development plan, to kind of show that, this will help development and housing and economic development as well. So
And of course, we're gonna maintain,
we would have to maintain it.
so we gotta think about, that's gonna cost, yeah.
Yep, yep.
And just to reiterate Kevin's point, that IIJA, which was, I believe, part of that ARPA money, that came out during the pandemic, I believe, and that's starting to dry up. So,
Yeah, IIJA was just the infrastructure law.
yeah.
I think ARPA was before that, right?
Was that before that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't remember. Yeah.
But anyway, it's not gonna be there forever. So this is, strike while the iron's hot. We can get 3.2 miles of that done. Very minimal cost, stormwater projects included, connecting two growth centers.
I think the next meeting you present us with a couple options, how we're gonna fund it. Whether we fund it, 100% LLT, 100% stormwater, a mixture thereof, and what those numbers look like.
Yep.
And then
Yep.
we can deviate from those or pick whatever we want. Just give us some options,
Yep.
I think we can make a decision on that.
So move back number 2.
And yeah, like who knows what we have for different funds that are available for that. Good point, Jack.
All right.
Kevin, how we coming on getting their dump truck together? Is that done?
Their schedule cleared up, and so they were able to bring both of their plow trucks into the shop and start.
There now?
They're there now. Yep. Yep. Change of course. Yep. Anything else on that?
I think that's it on that. We'll know more next meeting.
Yeah.
That's good, thank you.
Yeah.
So I'll talk about the boat launch. So a little bit of background. I'll share my screen. You have to share.
Yeah.
Maybe put it on your paper.
I think the mouse.
No, I think
I
you're-
know sheet, yeah, so that's it. It's out of range.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. Yeah, that works. So I provided a memo to the select board, kind of some background. A master plan was looked at for a couple different options for the redevelopment of the old public works site. And there's a discussion of a boat launch, and what we kept hearing was a recurring question of whether or not it was inappropriate or even a buildable option.
Feasible, yeah.
Feasible option there. And so we started to go off on a path of let's, hire an engineer to design the facility, but realized it was probably getting ahead of ourselves if we couldn't answer the very obvious and basic question is it even a suitable location? So we hired a surveyor and an engineer to go out and do some soundings, then also surveyed the site, surveyed the shoreland elevation, and then kind of collected some data points out into the lake. And so by going through that process, we were also able to start kind of educating ourselves a little bit about what we should be asking for in a boat launch. And we were able to get some additional information. So there is, believe it or not, a design handbook for recreational boat facilities with some suggested elevations that you should be shooting for, which is 4 to 5. The toe of your ramp should be about 4 to 5 feet below the low lake level. The low lake level is around 93 feet. So we asked our engineer to survey and provide a design where the toe of that ramp would be close to about 88 feet. And that's what the result of that survey is shown on the attached plan. We also talked with some subject matter experts at Agency of Natural Resource, Fish and Wildlife. We also consulted with a contractor that specializes in boat ramp design and just got feedback from all of them. There was no glaring red flag brought up with any of our designs. We would have to go out and dredge and clean up the sediment in order to create a channel for that ramp. So, yeah. Anyways, my eyes, I can't see the screen, but I think it was about 1,400 cubic yards if you add the muck and then the channel excavation together. That's the total amount of dredging that would have to happen. It would essentially be like a kind of water-filled cofferdam, put some crane mats out, long reach excavator, and kind of start pulling stuff up, stockpile it, let it dry, truck it offsite. That would be the general process. And then complete the shoreland excavation, construct the ramp. So the whole basis of what we're showing here is that the elevations can work. They'll take work, but they're not, they're not insurmountable. There's another ramp that was just bid down in Milton, the Van Everest ramp. That one, they're actually dealing with bedrock and they're gonna have to blast. So that would be quite a bit more effort than just the dredging that we're showing here. Another detail, we went back and forth about the slope of the ramp. Originally, we had a 10% slope, but then based on input from the contractor, from subject matter experts, the consensus now is that 15% is better. It's allows you to offload your boat. I'm not a boater either, so offload the boat while keeping your 4 tires dry. And so that's an advantage to the construction. It's less concrete, less excavating, so less cost overall. So feel free to ask any questions too. That's the gist of like the investigation.
So they're gonna let us dig in the lake?
We're very specific with what the question was in this part. Like if we go ahead with the project, the permitting would become next. Like there's a lot of questions that we didn't even try to answer at this point. We wanted to just answer that one question of like, because I've stood on the top of that bank and said, geez, does this really work? And so that was really our whole goal. I don't see any reason why I would be concerned about getting the permits. We clearly, from our conversations with folks at A&R and Fish and Wildlife, there's generally a consensus that there's a need for additional boat access in this part of the lake. And, these recreational facilities are pretty, they're in line with the mission of these agencies that want to conserve and protect wildlife.
I know years ago, we wanted to cement one of those stairs at the park over there for like wheelchairs. They had a freaking fit.
I think that was historic preservation, wasn't it?
Yeah. But they're all the same.
Yeah.
Kevin, can you talk a little bit about like number 5 grants that if How available is that? 'Cause it looks like if it was available, it'd be a 25% match, so bringing the cost down, would it cover all of our costs or just the cost of putting the ramp in?
Haven't thoroughly investigated that yet. I think that's definitely a next step. I think there are grants and there, from what was reported to us, there is funding available. So there's money that is looking for a home right now. So I don't know if they get 500,000 a year, but I'm not sure if that's the max of their account or the max amount of award that they get. So we can look into that more as well. I think there,
Just curious, just because you had a lot of bullet points, but just wanted to see if
Yeah,
there's any
yeah.
additional information you had.
the cost estimate too, like I was talking with the engineer today, so 1.6, that was derived during the master plan. And it really was just a very surface level plan. So to really understand what the cost of the project is, we would have to go into quite a bit more detail. We were going back and forth today trying to get some numbers quickly, but I think if we had another couple weeks, we would probably be able to refine that a little bit as well. So yeah, a couple other things that other things to consider. The demand analysis, this is something that came up in that handbook, that guidance that I meant. So like, there is a process, and the consultant talked to me about how they do it, and they've done it in the past, is just trying to figure out, is there a demand for a boat launch at this particular site? It's a process you can go through, but it seems like based on observations at Hathaway Point, observations from some of these other agencies, that there's does seem to be a demand for a boat launch. The contamination is a wild card. It is, an old DPW site that was owned by a bulk oil facility prior to that. So we know there's been several studies done by KAS, but they were very focused. And so if we were actually going to be starting to excavate and haul soil off-site, we would need to know what's in that soil, and we don't know until we test. So even if we do those tests, that could change our equation too. So if we find,
We did all
Well, yeah, I haven't seen the results of the phase 2 environmental study from KAS.
drilled holes all over that thing, and there's only a couple spots that were.
yeah, and so what I read is they focused a lot on petroleum, which is reasonable. But if you're going to send soil to a landfill, you also have to tell the landfill if there's metals, if there's PCBs, if there's other contaminants. The landfill or any receiving agency would have to know about those as well. And so anytime you sample, you can get surprised. I can share the reports too, if you guys haven't seen them.
So the town is obligated to deal with that anyway, right? I mean, or do we can just leave the soil there forever, or?
Yeah, I think right now it's like sleeping dogs lie, but I think if you were gonna do a big cut excavation down on that bank and your cubic yards,
Yeah.
that's gonna have to go somewhere. Yeah, you're gonna have to, you might sample that soil and it might be perfectly fine and have a lot of options for disposal, but if there is any residual contamination, that would add,
And it all has to go to Coventry. or
then it would have to go to
something.
Coventry or add some significant cost. Yeah,
Yep.
so.
What are the cost benefits to the town to putting in a boat launch?
I think that's outside of my, yeah, I think my task was like, does it
Can you do
work?
it?
Does the engineering work? Like, that could be investigated though, I'm sure.
I thank you, Kevin, because I know the original project came, I don't know if it was 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, with 3 options, and all 3 looked very good. There's, price tags with all 3. Some variation between that, right? I think the other one was 2 or 3 times more expensive than this one. But the big question that came up at the very first meeting that I know I personally asked was, is it even feasible? Can we do it? Is it possible? And it's a year and a half later, we have our answer. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that was, because that was the first question, if we can even consider it.
Well,
It
we
looks
didn't
like
have any
reading this.
documentation.
Yeah, we didn't have that. So it looks like, at this point that question's been asked, so we can actually consider a boat launch without
Yeah.
it being something that's, impossible to, even have on. So this is what we needed, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
Accomplished.
cost benefits to the town, I mean, parks, got a couple parks. What are those cost benefits? People can recreate. I don't think they're gonna pay us back anything. Unless you gotta put a quarter in the gate and back your boat in or something.
Yeah.
And is the traffic study being done for the circle yet?
Yeah, so Megan and I worked on an RFQ for engineering for the whole Bay Shore, but we're getting the Route 36 takeover question. It's kind of this like, and so that's whether or not we take over Vermont 36, but it's a different project if we own it or if we don't own it. And so that's kind of flummoxed us a little bit. And we've had some emails going back with V-Trans this week regarding the takeover of 36. So, but I think at some point we just go ahead and get that out and get it started. But I think that, yeah, you could think about this project and that project kind of holistically.
Yeah, I mean, traffic data is traffic data.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I don't have anything else. And I think,
Yeah.
anything bad?
No, we're gonna look for, kind of direction, for next, what we want to do. So there were a couple things, that Kevin put here at the end. It's potential options moving forward, review these findings and revisit next select board meeting. Or whenever you want to meet on that, I guess, move forward with a full request for proposal for the engineering to go through with this, shelve the project completely, or investigate other considerations that are listed above. So we're gonna look for direction. We have, we know that this is a feasible thing, the boat launch is feasible. It's just if we want to go through with it.
So I'm a proponent of the boat launch, have been since day one when we got the 3 options. Having said that, it alleviates the congestion on Hathaway Point boat ramp, which is severely congested in the summer month. You park in the road. We put signs up this past summer, I believe.
Yeah.
Where people don't park in the road, and sometimes they still do, blah, 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 blah. And it's crossing traffic there. It's a really bad location. So I'm gonna suggest, this is my take on it. This is more of a town manager, can just run with this. We're not spending any money besides what's in the town manager budget line for design and engineering. So Casey could just go ahead and move forward with any one of those 4 bullet points as he shall see fit. But if we wanted to come up with a consensus, we can do that too, to move forward with proposals for design and engineering. That's where I sit on it.
So with this, whatever that design is, my vision was the smaller boats would use this one, not the great big, triple axle trailers or whatever. Cause a lot of folks just want to get in their little boat and go fishing, or canoeing or kayaking.
I think you're still limited. Was it like 25 foot? Was there a limitation? I heard somebody kick around. Like
I mean,
length limitation on that or something? Maybe I could be wrong.
Actually, I think when I read it, the limitation was gonna be kind of gone by the slope and the toe.
Yeah.
You're gonna be able to put a pretty good sized boat
Pretty-
in there
yeah.
if you needed to.
It kind of seemed that way. And this is like a pretty standard 15% like concrete ramp. Like it's, I think it's gonna handle like even the feedback I got back was pontoon boats, bass boats, like most boats with, if we're able to make those elevations.
So if Fish and Wildlife says that the other ramp is bad or congested or not safe, can't they just like pay to put this one in and take it over if that's what they want to do?
There is money out there. The state, the Fish and Wildlife does have some money to throw at this project.
that's what that
so-
grant is.
That's what the grant is through Fish and Wildlife. Actually, I think it's through US
Yeah,
Fish and
US,
Wildlife.
Fish and Wildlife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know, take it over. Would we sell the property? Would they even want to buy the property? It's that.
They do, and they also like Apple Tree. I don't think they own the property, but it's a state ramp. I'm sorry. I said down in Apple Tree Bay, there's a state ramp, but I believe it's on private property because there's a marina right next door. So they kind of dual purpose it. They let them use the space. I don't know how
Yeah.
legally it's all laid out, but
Yeah.
they do. Fish and Wildlife will work with landowners for boat access. They have in the past.
Paul has a question.
Hold on, no, I'll get to you, Paul. Any more questions from the board at this time?
I think we need numbers. We don't have numbers. I mean, we have numbers on slope and toe. We know we can do it.
Dollars.
We don't
Dollar
know-
sign,
We don't know
yeah.
if
Dollar
we
sign.
could do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, dollar sign.
Yeah, I agree. And it, I was hoping to actually have them a little bit tonight, but it just, that we ran out of time. So,
I mean, typically when we do a lot of these projects, we get to $1, so like the dock, we have a dollar sign, well, the engineering's old now, but we have engineering with a dollar value to to redo the dock, like we have that, typically we go to the phase where we're gonna spend money. And then the select board decides where we're gonna spend it, how we're gonna spend it, so I just want to clarify that, like, we're not. The board or Casey or the previous town manager ain't doing nothing that they normally wouldn't do with a project that we're looking at developing. It's all run, we do this all the time.
Mhm.
The town has been doing this for years. And a lot of the projects sit on the shelf, so. But I think moving, we did do a sidewalk or two, so that's moving, so hopefully we can just keep forward and do projects as we see fit and as we have money for, which we do have a little bit of money sitting in the bank that we can allocate funds for certain projects, so.
But we do need funds for a new fire department and we do need a roof for the stone house.
Yeah.
So which we did talk to the state and they said that we could use alternative materials. So that would bring down the cost of the roof. So that would be good.
Yeah, they said they would work with us. Hopefully that works out.
Like they always do.
Right.
All right. Hold on, I'm not there yet. So are we moving forward? So you're gonna just move forward with this, Casey, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Well, you've got enough consensus here.
So if we can
Figure
get
out the dollar
the
sign,
engineering, get the dollar sign.
Up for the rest of them, and move forward.
Yep.
Paul, your turn.
Yes, my question, you almost got to a little bit, when you started talking about the other boat launch and the state coming in and fishery taking it over. This boat launch, this access has been talked about since Cohen Park opened, you couldn't get your canoes and stuff very easily into the open lake. There's always gonna be small boats. Always was thought about canoes, those things they drop your sails, the parasails or whatever. So they could those folks could get access to the lake in the day instead of out in the sea. Your question comes up, are we operating not pushing competition, but as a supplement to the state access over there, or are we operating as a place where town residents can put their small craft in? Not a tandem, maybe you got a single axle, maybe a 16-footer or 17-foot boat you wanna put in, shallow draft. And then, if we agree that that's what we're doing, and it's really for town residents, everybody here, I assume, is a town resident, how do you regulate that? Because once you open it up and you open the gate, how do you determine that some guy comes in and throws in a boat and he's got a 24-footer, 26-footer, got a tandem axle trailer there, is he gonna leave with his truck and go off for the day? And now town resident comes in, wants to use it to go sailboat or whatever, can't get a place to park. How do we control this? And yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Well, that's the whole point of having two, because that one's so congested.
I can't hear you.
I said, that's the whole point of having additional space, because it is congested over there in the summer. Like, that's the whole, like, whether,
Over there, but what I'm saying is that
I mean, like,
investing for the town. Town residents are using that place over there. My son-in-law next door wants to put his boat in, can't get over there. He's got a little fishing boat, flat bottom, whatever you call it, whatever, got a motor though. This would be ideal for him, where it's on a busy Saturday, weekend or whatever, he can't get in. This is open to town residents only. It's a better plan. Thing is, now we have to figure out how to control it, because otherwise you're gonna have everybody and their brother's gonna say, well, I don't want to even go down there, try to go down there, and have to turn around and come back, I'm gonna stop here first. And then the town residents are SOL.
thanks, Paul. But
It'll depend on what funds the town's able to get. If we were to access Fish and Wildlife funds, we can't limit anybody in the state of law. State, this was back when I was in the Senate Natural Resources. You got about an acre that whole on the site's 2.2 acres. They give money and get certain permit access, like shoreline stuff, kind of goes away with public access. So from the permitting and the financing and all that, depending on whatever package the town decided to do or not decided to do, time is right to determine.
You answered the question that I had a say on this other than the vote to spend the money. I would say, under those conditions, do not take a penny of state money for the boat launch. You wanna pick the park, you wanna develop the land around it, that's one thing. When it comes to that boat launch, keep the state out of it. Invest the money over fixing up the stone house.
thanks, Paul.
Get another job.
Oh, there you go, Scott.
I just wanted to comment on the boat launch.
Come right up to the microphone, state your name, please.
Sure.
Whoa, you're all right. Catch him.
And we need to be able to access it easier. And for the kayakers, the canoers, it's not really safe down at the other boat launch either, because we're coming in with props and everything and trying to make sure we don't hit anybody. And I just think it would make it so much easier for the inland sea part of our area up here to people to enjoy this lake. You know, it's something we need because, like I said, it was for fishermen 60 years ago. We don't have that anymore. It's for everybody. So we need more access to the lake so everyone can enjoy it.
And where do you launch your boat currently?
At the boat launch,
The Fish and Wildlife, where
Fish-
there's more than
the
one.
state boat launch. Because you can't really consider Kilcare the boat launch because they shut their gates. So you don't have 24-hour access to it. So if you want to go out wildlife fishing at nighttime, you have to, you can't launch at that one. So it's really just that one boat launch that we have access to. And I think we need more because it's a great resource, our lake, and we need to be able to enjoy it, and for everybody, not just for us fishermen, but for the canoers, the kayakers, the anybody, the sightseers. That's just my take on it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Try to get back.
Go on up, Jeff.
I gotta apologize for wearing my sweats, but I had a hernia operation today, so I'm a little bit, my name is Chuck Lowe. I own the Bayside Pavilion and also own the St. Albans Bay Marina. I mean, I think to step back to Amanda's question, how can you make money with a boat launch? I think that's a really good point to start with. Boat launches and boats are all about people and having a good time, and it's about where they are making money. If you go to any of these boat launches, whether you're at Apple Island, Colchester, Burlington, those places are packed. And they aren't just the residents. There's people coming to your town. They're gonna go to your stores down here. They're gonna buy gas. They're gonna buy fishing equipment. They're gonna eat in your restaurants. They're gonna come stay in your motels. They're gonna stay in your Airbnbs. And these people have money to spend. And that's what a town wants. I mean, you have an LOT, granted, it's 1% or 2%, whatever it is. And you're making money for everybody coming to this town. And not only that, the residents that live here, to be able to say that you have a boat launch and you've got developers out there building houses. You aren't building houses that are $200,000, $300,000 homes. These people are buying $700, $800, $900 million homes and up that have the disposable income to have boats. And I think it's very important for people to understand the town is a business. You want to make money. Whether you've got an LLC or you're on a town board, the whole thing is about making money and providing a service for the people who live here and the people that are coming here. Bike paths, it's the same thing. How do you make money with a bike path? Tell me to sit down. So really, I think that I don't want to go on about it, but I think that's the place to start. And if you start limiting, if you're going to spend millions of dollars on a boat ramp and you think you're going to put kayaks in there or little tiny rowboats, you might as well stop right now because that's not going to work. That's not going to, that's not what people are looking for. That's not what people are looking for. I could say a lot more, but I think really that's the, when you make a decision and are deciding this kind of thing, it's all about what you're going to do for the residents and the people that are coming to visit your town. And whether you like it or not, it's all about making money and bringing people here, jobs, creating jobs for people. And the other thing I'll say is I do own a restaurant and I do own the marina, and the restaurant would probably benefit, but I'll tell you right now, the marina is not going to benefit. It won't benefit. The reason I'm for the boat launch, not because it's good for my marina. Not one person's going to buy gas. Not one person that launches a boat over there is going to stop at the marina or use the marina unless they broke down and needed me to tow them in. But other than that, they're going to go to the gas station over here. They're going to buy gas from Chris. They're going to buy fishing equipment from Chris. they're gonna buy sandwiches, they're gonna, they might come and eat at the restaurant, but the one thing the boat launch is gonna do is create a lot more traffic, unwanted traffic for my marina. It's not good for my marina, but you know what it is good for? It's good for this town. And it's not about being selfish, it's about being smart. It's good for the town. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck.
Okay. Moving on. What do you got, Casey? Town manager's report, you got a couple things there?
Just a couple things. They're gonna be pretty quick. Just want to give you an update. We signed up to do some audits before I started, and I just want to give you an update that they are 2023 drafts are under review, and they're just setting up the portal for the uploads for 2024. And I'll just continue to update you as we go along, and just so we know where we're at. They did mention that Anna's been great to work with and help on that. So Anna, thanks for all the help on that. Couple things, Act 250 permits, just informational only. FCIDC Benoit Drive Administrative Amendment and the City of St. Albans Hard Act has a minor application as well. So those are in your packets for you to review. Other than that, that's all we have. Kevin did a great job reporting on the former DPW site. So that's what we kind of been spending our time on the last couple of weeks, is looking at that and other bids that have been going out.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any other business? Okay, hearing none. Next select board meeting is Tuesday, February 17th and Monday, March 2nd. Both at 6:30 PM. And the informational meeting about the fiscal year 27 budget and ballot articles is Monday, March 2nd at 6:30. Having said that, we have just a little update from Jack. Gonna update us here. So would somebody make a motion to go into executive session? You good? Oh, sorry. Make a motion to go into executive session to discuss a contractual matter where premature general public knowledge of the subject matter would place the town at a substantial disadvantage. Further move to enter into executive session to discuss a contractual matter and the provisions of Title 1, 3A1 of the Vermont statutes, and to invite the town manager, Casey, too.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There we go.